folks, Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Hey, we're coming to you another video we want to share with you. We're doing some quick versus comparison between some of the major top phones out in the marketplace. Now, you'll be able to see the full video comparisons we'll do, where we go through each line item one by one and do the full reviews. But we're going to do some quick ones here. We're going to go through the phones that are the major ones on the market right now, compare them side by side, and tell you which one we think is better. So, what we have today is the AT&T Samsung Galaxy Note 3, new one out here, versus the Samsung Galaxy S4. We're going to be pitting both these two together today and try to decide which one you might like better. And of course, be sure to watch our full reviews. We're just doing the quick reviews here. Go see your good friends at AT&T.com with the fastest download and upload speeds. So, what we have today is the Note 3. It's the latest rendition of the Note. The S4, the latest rendition of the S3 II series, all that sort of good stuff. The big difference here is the size of the screen. Now, one size screen is 5 inches, the other is 5.7 inches, so a much bigger screen and much bigger real estate to be able to take and deal with. The other thing is a much bigger body size to take and deal with, and that may be the biggest determinant of you deciding which of these phones to buy, is how big your hands are, how comfortable you feel with the big phone and the small phone and all that good stuff. The Note 3 is much harder, of course, to get into the pocket than the S4. This has been my favorite phone up until the launch of the Note 3, and now the Note 3 is going to be my favorite phone. And the other thing I do is I love big screens. I love being able to watch video on big screens, play games on big screens, all that sort of good stuff. It's a real thing for me. If it's not for you, you may enjoy the S4. If you have smaller hands, I have 9-inch span hands, the Note 3 feels very comfortable for me in the hands, although it is a little bit big when you're used to the S4. The S4 may feel comfortable for you otherwise, so it's really up to you. Now, in the Note 3, we have a in the Note 3, we have a 2.3 gigahertz Qualcomm chip, 800 Snapdragon processor, just a monster of a processor. One thing it has in it that's better than most phones in the market, it has 3 gigabytes of RAM. Isn't that huge? Pretty awesome. And it has a 3200 milliamp hour battery. Now, with the Samsung Galaxy S4, you're looking at a 1.9 gigahertz, which is still very fast compared to most of the phones in the marketplace. And it has good memory. I think it's like 1 or 2 gigabytes of RAM and everything else that goes into it. So it's still a good phone comparatively, but it does seem to be, with the Note 3, they've thrown in a whole lot more when it comes to processor speed, of course, and memory and all that good stuff. Now, on the backs of both these, you can see they're very different. On the Note 3, they've taken a huge departation, if you will, of the back and how it's designed. It has this faux leather back that definitely looks good, and I gotta tell you, even though it's fake, it fools your brain to think it's real. It feels very comfortable, looks really good, and everything else. You can see here that the Samsung Galaxy S4 still has the same sort of plastic back that gives it that plasticky nature, and these both seem to work just fine for me. I don't have a problem with them. They've changed some of the back of the Note 3, and they now have this really cool thing that's a piggybacked micro SD card area, where it's piggybacked over the SIM card. They've also changed the layout and design of the camera. I really like it. It's got a great flash on it, as does the S4, but they put a much better flash into this one. You've got a huge battery, of course, that you have to work from. On the S4, you have much the same thing. You have the expandable memory with a micro SD card that you can take and do out the back. You got the pop-off battery, and this is the old style where it has the micro SD card in a different area, and of course a much smaller battery. Now, one of the issues with the old style of Samsungs that I had, that's on the Note 2 and all the S series, is they had the speaker on the back. Now, there's a little ridge on the cases that will hold it up off the desk, so you can still get sound out of it when you put it down flat. But one of the this is really cool, new things about the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 is they put this humongous, killer, very loud speaker in the bottom, and it pumps out some volume. And it does a really great job. It works really great for when you're making calls, etc., and all that good stuff. So I really love the speaker on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. That's a huge difference for me. The other thing is you can see here the build, the quality of the build. They changed some of the look of it, where it's just not a cheap, rounded off plastic size stuff. They put some definite lines in it and kind of squared it off so that it just looks a whole lot better. And I really love that feature of the Note 3. That really makes a big difference for me. Now, OS-wise, they've still got pretty much the same things. I think the 4.3 OS is in this one from Android, and I'm sure they'll upgrade this one here this one's on 4.2 something, whatever it is. But some of the key features that are different here, they've added some different things that weren't in the S4. Now, as you know, the S4 came in with a whole mess of really cool add-ons. It came in with stuff like multi-window, screen mirroring, S-Beam, NFC, Air View, Air Gesture, hands-free drive mode, Smart Stay, Smart Pause, Smart Scroll. All those things were introduced into the S4, but there's some different things that, like, called reading mode that's been introduced into the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 that I really enjoy. The other thing that they've added is a really cool news feature where if you pull up from the bottom, you can access a Flipboard, which basically gives you all the different news that you can take and do, and you can still interact with the phone with making calls and everything else. Really like this Flipboard feature. The other thing is too is it will suck in your social networks, and you can get that data in here. You can get your own pictures in here and flip through them. It really is a cool feature that they've taken and done with the Note 3. One of the awesome things with the Note 3 that you don't get with the S4 is the pen stylus feature. And so that's very important to some people, so that's why they like the Note better, because they can draw on it and write on it, and a lot of companies use it to sign stuff. So they've added this really cool pop-up you can see here. And in this cool pop-up, you have several different features. It's called the Air Command pop-up. It has the, let's see, we have an action memo, we have scrapbooker, we have screen write, and of course S Finder and pen window. Now what's really cool about this is with the action memo, you of course can make a quick memo. With the scrapbooker, I can be anywhere on the internet or whatever's on my screen. I can go ahead and circle it, it will cut it, paste it, and automatically put it into a scrapbook for me. Now on the screen write, of course I can write on the screen, save it, all that sort of good stuff, make notes. And then the S Finder, I can go through different searches that I've had in the past and see the history of that. One thing that's really cool that I love is called the pen window. Now you can do multi-window on the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and also on the S4, where you can create two different windows that you can take and operate from. But with this feature stylus on the Note 3, I can draw anywhere on the screen. Let's draw up here for fun. And it will immediately open a window where I can have my calculator, my clock, my phone, my YouTube, my contacts, my chat, internet, etc., etc. And I can open up multi-windows. So we're going to open up a little video here. And this is freaking cool. Watch this. I can even move this thing around if I want. And what's really neat about it too is I can expand it to be full screen. I can close it out from here, or I can minimize it. Now watch this. You can see there's a little minimized icon now on my desktop. And so anytime I want to call back open that video, let's say I got a call and I'm watching a video, so I minimize the video, now I want to pull it back open, I can hit the button and pull that back open. Is that freaking cool or what? That's innovation. That's really neat. And then you can of course search your search your YouTube here, all that sort of good stuff. So really excited for some of the new features, the news feature, the stylus features they've added with the Note 3. Very impressed with them. In fact, I think I'll probably find myself using the stylus more now than I did with the Note 2. So really love that feature. Now, one of the cool things that come with the new Snapdragon 800 series you're going to be hearing about is it has the ability to do 4K video. If you don't know what 4K video is, go ahead and look it up. It's 4 times basically 1080p. So you're going to get a lot more video and all that sort of good stuff quality when you do recordings. Now you won't really be able to enjoy them on the screen of your Note 3 because your Note 3 is only 1080p, but you can record video to 4K, save it for a time when you buy your 4K TV. Probably a good year from having most people start buying a bunch of them and getting the prices down to that point. But you can also upload it to YouTube, and in uploading it to YouTube, you can play it as 4K on YouTube. Once again, you may not be able to quite see it. The quality might be a little bit better from what you'll be able to tell, but once you get your 4K TVs and you upgrade all that stuff, it's going to make a huge difference. The other neat thing about it is the GoPro will do 4K. The GoPro, I believe it's a silver. But if you use the Note 3, you can get On the GoPro, it's 15 frames per second, where on the 4K, it's 30 frames per second on the Note 3. Really cool. The other cool thing that's very neat, and this is one of the things I loved about the Motorola Moto X, it does 1080p video recording at 60 frames per second. The Note 3 does 60 frames per second video recording at 1080p. So very cool. You can increase up to there. And of course you have 13 megapixels on the camera, which you also have on the Samsung Galaxy S4. So you're definitely going to get great photos on both these phones, great video on both these phones, but you're going to get a little bit better, especially with the 4K and where the future's going with the Note 3. So this is a really solid investment for that element of it. I really have loved both phones, and the Note 3 is going to take over, like I said, as my main phone. But it definitely rocks and rolls when it comes down to speed, quality. It just feels like a much more efficient phone, and I hope all the new, I'm sure they will, I hope all the new Samsung Galaxies will be coming out built like the Note 3, because I'd love to see this faux leather back in the back of the Samsung S4 and all that good stuff and everything else. Which phone is better in my mind right now? The Samsung Galaxy Note 3, if you can't tell already from our discussions. It's just got a whole lot more cool features. I love the bigger screen. I love the Stylus features. I love the bigger battery too. I believe it's a 2600 that's in here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going from memory, but it's much bigger over here, and it seems to last much longer. It's got some really great features that I really enjoy, and I love the speaker much better. That's a huge big difference for me too, especially if you're making calls. It's much easier to hear people, and for some reason it's much easier to hear them. Now, the flashes on the back do a really great job too. I think the flash is a little bit more improved on the Samsung Note 3, so that's another factor you may want to take into the basis. So it's really up to you to choose which one of these phones works best for you. You can go to our good friends at AT&T.com. That's AT&T.com. Tell them Chris Voss sent you. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. They have the fastest download and upload speeds of anyone in the market. You can decide which one you want to take and have, and which one works best for you. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and watch all the other versus comparisons we'll be doing. This is just a quick one, so be sure to watch the in-depth one where we go into photo, video comparison, we do benchmarks and all that sort of good stuff. And I do have to tell you, the Note 3, of course, having a faster processor, does benchmark higher than the Galaxy S4. So be sure to check in. Thanks for coming by.